What's going on, everyone? Welcome back. Today we've got another live fantasy football mock draft for you back on ESPN with a 10-team full PPR mock where we will be selecting 8th overall. Should be really interesting. And while we wait for this thing to kick off, a quick reminder, if you guys enjoy, hit that like button, subscribe, give us a follow on Twitter at AllDayPigskin to continue interacting with us there. Let us hear it in the comment section. Do you agree, disagree, along with any other questions you guys might have? We will do our best to answer them all. But with that being said, let's kick this thing off. Before getting into our breakdown, I want to highlight the sponsor of today's video, OddsJam. OddsJam continues to be the place that I use for all of my sports betting research, from the NFL, NBA, MLB, to daily fantasy and everything in between. But don't just take my word for it. Let me show you firsthand all the amazing tools OddsJam has to offer. Starting with their positive EV tool, which identifies situations where a single sportsbook has mispriced their line compared to the rest of the market. They're basically willing to pay a lot more so that you bet with them compared to the other sportsbook. At the end of the day, you're getting the best odds, essentially a mathematical edge and guaranteed money in the long run. But also available is OddsJam's arbitrage tool, which shows situations where the market is so mispriced that you can bet on both sides and guarantee a risk-free return. OddsJam's calculators show you exactly how much you have to bet on the over and under and what the respective guaranteed risk-free return would be. There's also OddsJam's Sportsbook tool, which consolidates all available market info, over 200 sportsbooks, and provides updates in real time and allows you to see line movement. But my personal favorite is their Fantasy Optimizer tool, which is great for those using PrizePicks, Underdogs, or other daily fantasy sites, as you get to see discrepancies between all of these sportsbooks. Imagine, PrizePicks has a Patrick Mahomes line at 200.5 passing yards, and all other books like FanDuel and Underdog have this line at 230 passing yards. Well, getting the over 200.5 on PrizePicks would be an absolute steal. Guess what? OddsJam does that for you. And the good news is, if you sign up today and use our code PIGSKIN, check the link and promo code in the description of this video, you will get 25% off your first month. OddsJam also has a 7-day free trial, so you get to try before you buy. So don't waste any more time and sign up for OddsJam using our code PIGSKIN today. The first pick has been made. It is Justin Jefferson. Now, I've been saying this for a while, but to me, the draft doesn't really begin after the first probably 4 picks, something like that, because I think the majority of times we're seeing something along the lines of like Jefferson, Eckler, McCaffrey, then like Jamar Chase. And those are, if you will, the chalk picks, but I still think there's tremendous value afterwards. I've said it before, I think picking like 4th, 5th overall is just as good as picking 1st overall, even better, because, hell, look at this example. Christian McCaffrey just went 6th overall. That's absolutely bananas. I think that's insane value. I think that that's going to be the best value in this entire draft. Bijan Robinson went 7th overall. So here we've got 4 kind of selections until we make another pick. So I'm thinking we get at least one running back. I'd like to get maybe, let's go with a Saquon Barkley. And then I think I'll still be able to get for example, Devontae Adams, Stephon Diggs, Nick Chubb, Garrett Wilson, somebody like that. Maybe a Tony Pollard. Maybe we can go back-to-back running backs. I'm not sure. I just think that we're going to be in a situation where we can at least add another, difference maker at the wide receiver position or at the running back position at this point in time. We don't have to wait that long at this turn. So I was happy to pass up on, potentially the wide receivers, Stephon Diggs, Devontae Adams, Garrett Wilson. They all go. So does Nick Chubb. So we're in a situation right now where, look, Cooper Kupp is staring us right in the face. And I love Cooper Kupp. I've been saying this, but I had always prefaced it. The assumption he would be healthy week 1. He has a setback. Now, I wouldn't be shocked if he's not available come week 1 or even further down the line. So I might do something a little bit out of the norm here, and we can go with the wide receiver. We can go with CeeDee Lamb. I've done Tony Pollard so many times. You guys have, seen that. You're probably sick of me going back-to-back running backs. So let's do a little bit of a balanced approach here. Saquon Barkley, CeeDee Lamb, and then we can really put our own stamp on this thing in the third and fourth rounds, so on and so forth. I think overall we're in a good spot, though. We start out with 2 top 10 guys at their positions, Barkley, CeeDee Lamb. Again, if with that first pick you wanted to go with the Nick Chubb, for example, if you were looking at the running back position, I would have 0 quips with it. If in the second round you wanted to go with Amon-Ra St. Brown, I would have 0 issues with it. Here, quickly just kind of calling attention to things in these selections round by round. In the first round, it was Justin Jefferson, Austin Eckler, then Travis Kelce. Obviously, look, Kelce wouldn't have gotten back to this individual in the second round, so it's one of those things where if you are dead set on getting Kelce, you're going to have to reach on him, especially if you're towards the beginning of the first round. Then Jamar Chase, then Tyreek Hill. Now, for what it's worth, I wouldn't do that. But again, let's continue on. Christian McCaffrey with the 6th overall pick. Again, amazing value. Bijan Robinson, 7th. Then we went Barkley. Then Stephon Diggs, Devontae Adams. Adams, his ADP starting to go up again. Those are just small fluctuations that I think we kind of alluded to that we expected. So at one point, he was a really good value. Now it's kind of normalizing to what we expected it to be. Then Garrett Wilson, Nick Chubb. Really like both those guys. CeeDee Lamb, who we went with. Then we saw Tony Pollard, Cooper Kupp. I'm not sure if that was an auto pick, what the case was there. It really just boils down to how many games is this hamstring injury going to cause Cooper Kupp to miss, and is it going to be an issue all season long? I don't think the Rams are going to rush back Cooper Kupp. We've seen that before. They're very cautious with him, considering the type of talent that he is. So to me, I wouldn't be shocked if he misses, at a minimum 1 game, to 2, 3, something like that. It's very tough right now to gauge the Cooper Kupp situation. Like right now, I take Amon-Ra St. Brown, as crazy as that sounds, ahead of Cooper Kupp because at least we have more certainty there. After the Cooper Kupp pick, you see Josh Jacobs, Derrick Henry, the aforementioned Amon-Ra, A.J. Brown, DK Metcalf. I don't like that DK Metcalf pick. I'd so much rather have a plethora of other wide receivers. Again, I just don't think he's that PPR-suited wide receiver. I think it's a crowded situation there. I think that it's going to be a tall task for Geno Smith to replicate what he did last year. Patrick Mahomes goes with the first pick in the third round. At least, these individuals waited until the third round to select a quarterback. Again, it's a little bit too early for my liking, but hey, we've seen a quarterback be selected in the first round. We've seen one be selected in the early second round. So this is at least better than that. Now, again, it's a 10-team league, and so positional advantage is important, but not when, in my opinion, you have to sacrifice that much for it. So these last couple of picks in the third round, Patrick Mahomes, Joe Mixon, Jahmyr Gibbs, Jalen Waddle, T. Higgins, Chris Olave, Devonta Smith. I was really hoping Devonta Smith or Chris Olave would fall to us. They do not. So here we've got a question of what do we do? Do we go with... I'm not going to be going with one of the quarterbacks here. I think I'm going to go in the direction probably of Calvin Ridley and then Keenan Allen in the next round. They're my next 2 highest ranked wide receivers, so I'm not going to overthink it. I'm going to get my wide receiver position taken care of. Again, we've got that guy that can carry us at the running back spot with Saquon Barkley. And then I feel pretty confident that I can get a difference maker at the running back position. In the 5th and 6th round, we've been lucky in that. And I don't think it's as much of a dead zone as it has been in years past. You've got guys like James Conner, Miles Sanders, Alexander Madison, obviously Jonathan Taylor and his situation with the holdout, and somebody like an Alvin Kamara with his suspension. There's a lot of talent there. If you survive the first couple of weeks, you're going to get back up. So I like that. Jalen Hurts just went with the first pick in the 4th round. So again, that's your example of why you don't want to be the first person to select the quarterback, right? A full round later, you get Hurts and Josh Allen. Here, I already said it. I'm going Keenan Allen. I already told you guys what I'm going to be doing. So our first pick was a running back, then 3 straight wide receivers. I think right now we're going to shift focus to the running back position in the 5th round, like I alluded to. So again, look at all this value here. Kamara, Sanders, Madison, Jonathan Taylor's, again, very interesting situation. To me, it just becomes a point of where's he going to be drafted? If he's drafted in the first 4 rounds, depending on the size of the leagues, how did you construct your roster? Make sure that you have depth behind him. Make sure you've got a Deion Jackson as, kind of that handcuff, if you will. So there's a lot of factors into it. But I will say, he starts dropping in the 6th round, and you've already constructed the core of your starting roster. I'm going to go ahead and draft Jonathan Taylor because to me at that point it becomes a risk worth taking, and that's kind of how I view the situation. So again, let's go back to our pick history here and look at this 4th round after our Keenan Allen pick. Before that, it was 2 quarterbacks. After Keenan Allen, Aaron Jones, Ramondre Stevenson, Dameon Pierce, Breece Hall. So a big run on the running back position. Then Debo, then Joe Burrow, then Amari Cooper. Now Rachaad White kicks off this 5th round. I imagine we might see some of these. Let's see how this thing is looking in terms of the big board. Some of these running backs that are still available. Mark Andrews just went in the 5th round. So I'm not the biggest Mark Andrews fan. I've said that before. But in the 5th round, it's a good value. Now, TJ Hawkinson also at the end of the 5th round, kind of tempting, right? But I think there's other players here that we can go with. And the decision actually gets made for us. TJ Hawkinson gets picked with the 5th pick in the 5th round. But we still look good for the running back position in terms of how I think we can bounce back after not having selected one for the first, obviously several rounds. Or I should say the last 3 rounds to be more specific. So I like James Conner, I like Miles Sanders, I like Alexander Madison. I think one of those guys will fall to us. One of them does. I'll go with, let's mix it up. I'll go with Alexander Madison first. And then I think we'll be able to get either Kamara, Sanders, or James Conner on our squad. That way we will have 3 solid running backs, 3 solid wide receivers, and, we can continue on building out the team. I'm not going quarterback here. I'm not going tight end. I want to secure the running back position. It's as simple as that. There's 2 picks until we make another selection. So we are guaranteed to either get Kamara, Sanders, or James Conner, one of those guys, and I feel pretty good about that. So the question is, which one will it be? I'd be happy with any of the bunch. So, yeah, it's a win-win situation for us. There goes Miles Sanders. So, okay, won't be Miles Sanders. That's fine. And it's going to be either Alvin Kamara or James Conner. I have James Cook ranked a little bit lower. So, it's going to be either Conner or Alvin Kamara. The decision will be made for us if we have our choice between the 2. I'm going to go James Conner because at least he's not suspended for the first 3 games of the season. It kind of makes sense. So we don't have to put ourselves in that position. And just like that, we've got, I think, 3 solid running backs, 3 solid wide receivers. These last 2 picks, we're going to make a quarterback selection probably. We're going to make a tight end selection. And we're going to call it a day in terms of this mock draft. I think that, we've circumvented this thing pretty well. We've broken down what we've seen. We've called out any issues that we might have. Here are things that stuck out to me. I think that 5th round, there were a couple of good value tight ends in Andrews and TJ Hawkinson. In the 6th round, this is my example of it. The quote-unquote dead zone running back. I think there's some really good talent here in Sanders and James Conner and Alvin Kamara and James Cook. So I was happy to do that. Darren Waller went, Justin Herbert went, Justin Fields. So the top quarterbacks are all going off the board. That's fine. I addressed positions, in my opinion, that were more important. So we've got 7 more selections until we are back on the clock. Here, we could go a couple of different ways. Obviously, I am partial to some guys more than others, but, you know, let's wait until we're on the clock to kind of discuss that. Unfortunately, George Kittle did go here with the 2nd pick in the 7th round. I was really hoping that he would fall to us. He's somebody that's kind of been dropping an ADP that I really wouldn't mind, having on the squad. But especially at his current value, like, come on. Kyle Pitts is there. To me, he's the next best available, option at the tight end position. So let's see what happens. I mean, Jonathan Taylor also still there, and it's almost the 8th round. This is what I mean in terms of value. Like, you've constructed your roster, you've got depth at the position, and this is a luxury pick, but it's one that doesn't carry too much risk. So I wouldn't mind taking Jonathan Taylor here, but let's kind of, we just got sniped. Oh my gosh. We got sniped on both the guys that I was looking at. We got sniped on Kyle Pitts and Trevor Lawrence. I guess let's go with Dallas Goedert here with one of our picks. Let's see if these guys have a tight end. Darren Waller, he doesn't. So I'll take Dallas Goedert here with one of our picks. I was really hoping that either Pitts or Lawrence would be there. That doesn't happen. Oh well. Quarterback, Dak Prescott, Kirk Cousins are still there. At this point, we can wait for one of those guys. We can queue up somebody. I love Aaron Rodgers in the later rounds. I've said that before. And now, if he's there, of course he isn't. Jonathan Taylor just gets selected with the last pick in the 10th round. I was going to say he's tremendous value. J.K. Dobbins also not a bad value at this point in time. Marquise Brown, somebody that I like. So that's how we're going to wrap this thing up with one of those guys being selected here. I'm not going to reach on a quarterback at this point in time. I think that's an important lesson to kind of have in the back of your mind. After the guys that you really like at the quarterback position are gone, then just look elsewhere, right? Marquise Brown just got selected. So we've gotten maybe a little bit unlucky and getting sniped a couple times. Here, I'm going to go J.K. Dobbins. Again, I don't love him in PPR. I don't. I realize his limitations. But I think, again, at this point, loading up on a running back talent, like, you could argue he's the best value available at the running backs right now in terms of starting running backs. So that's how we're going to kind of wrap this thing up. I don't mind the squad. We got sniped a couple times, but I think overall we did a good job. But hey, let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Agree or disagree. If you enjoyed, hit that like button, subscribe, give us a follow on Twitter at AllDayPigskin to continue interacting with us there. But in the meantime, we'll see you guys in future videos.